Hey, what's going on, guys? This is actually going to be a pretty nice combo video. So up until now, I've never really showed like a full combo video where every single combo could actually play around Nibiru. No, actually, sorry. I'm actually going to rephrase this. This time we're actually going to be playing around and through Nibiru. And let me define both words. So playing around means that you're not even allowing your opponent to Nibiru you in the first place, or if they do Nibiru, you just negate. And playing through Nibiru means you actually let them Nibiru you, and then you actually keep playing from there. So Virtual World is one of those decks that can seriously play through multiple hand traps, and I mean, if you can play around Nibiru or through Nibiru, I don't think anything scares you. So yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting. I'm going to show 5 combos, and the 2 final combos are also going to be showing how to play through Droll on top of Nibiru and Artifact Lancia. So before we start, friendly reminder to like and subscribe because it motivates me a lot to keep making awesome videos like these. Yeah, let's jump into combo number 1. So as you can see, I have Kowloon with Lulu, and just any discard. My opponent has Nibiru. I am pretty sure quite a lot of people know this, but this is basically the bread and butter super simple combo. So yeah, I'm going to be pitching the King Long and then search for Kirin out of everything. And then the King Long can actually, in the graveyard, search for this GG. And I also had to pitch the Nyan Nyan for the other effect of, I believe it was Lily, since I targeted the Chuchi, so I had to send a spell and a monster. And then the GG is actually going to be pitching the Chuch, by targeting a monster, not the trap card, otherwise you're gonna have less options. And since you're summoning a level 3, you can actually summon back Nyan Nyan from your graveyard. So if you were following, this is exactly 4 summons, which means that summon number 5 is Gossip Shadow Bamboozling number 75, and this can essentially negate pretty much just, I mean, any monster effect, even activated in your opponent's hand, and the effect becomes both players draw 1 card. So one thing that I really have to mention with Bamboozling is that if you actually use Pot of Prosperity earlier on that turn, you're not allowed to Bamboozling, you know, after. So you really have to be careful, because that might actually have an impact on the way you deck build. Maybe instead of going 3 Prosperity with 2 Desires, you might go 3 Desires with 2 Prosperity, or even 3 Desires 1 Prosperity, just because you feel like Bamboozling might be summoned often. And it really does depend on if you are trying to play specifically through Nibiru or not. But of course, this is a combo where we're playing around Nibiru, even though there are some other ways to actually do this. Anyways, now we're actually making Chao Feng just so we can destroy it and search for Lao Lao with it. So pretty nice, man. We're actually having access to every single name out there. And again, we're pitching the Nyan Nyan, then reviving back the Lily. And then we're actually going to adjust the level in order to make it level 3. And we're going to make Cloud Castle to revive back the Chao Feng. And at this point, you can already see that this is VFD. And we're obviously not done yet. Of course, my opponent, whatever, tries to go Nibiru. I'm just showing you that it doesn't really do anything. And during the end phase, you get that GG recycled back from your graveyard to your hand. So pretty nice. Just 2-card combo with a discard. Gets you VFD with a graveyard resource. And a pretty huge follow for next turn. Pretty sure you still had like a extra King Long or something, which is really nice. Anyways, let's get into combo number 2. Alright, combo number 2, and starting from now, we're actually going to be playing through Nibiru. So our opponent is actually going to successfully Nibiru us. So this hand is quite similar, but instead of having Lulu, we actually have Lily, although it honestly doesn't change that much. If anything, it might actually end up being the exact same depending on how you sequence things up. And yeah, as you can see, we're actually still searching for GG, but this time we're actually not trying to make Gossip Shadow. We're actually trying to make Chao Feng on summon number 4. It really matters that it's on summon number 4, because if it's summon number 5 and then you try to go Chooch pop your Chao Feng, they can chain Nibiru, and since your Chao Feng wasn't actually destroyed, well, you're not actually going to get a search, so it's really important to do that on summon number 4. Same thing with like Vermilion. We're actually going to cover this later on. So up until now, we are un-Nibiruable, and then we're going to search for the Lao Lao. And again, the sequencing here is ridiculously important, because if you mess up something even remotely small, you're pretty much screwed. So every little play matters, and we're actually going to go for GG first, and not the Lao Lao, because otherwise you would be summoning a monster, and then you would be summoning another monster, and then you get Nibiru'd, and all you have is a 1-for-1 monster, which doesn't do anything. But right now, we're actually going to try to force our opponent to Nibiru us really early, so this Lao Lao can actually work very well. And by the way, you can clearly see that at this point, we had like 2 level 3 monsters technically, so we could have made Bamboozling and then go Lao Lao, but I decided, well, whatever, I'm just gonna make Cloud Castle, revive back, and it really doesn't change anything. If you don't want to play Bamboozling, you can actually not play Bamboozling, and it doesn't change anything because exactly like I said, there's also that, you know, that pattern where instead of trying to play around, you play through the card. And now, of course, Lao Lao into GG into Cloud Castle, revive back Chao Feng, make VFD as if nothing ever happens. The fact that Cloud Castle isn't a hard once per turn, and it's super easy to make because Lao Lao is a monster reborn, just kind of pinpoints how ridiculously unhealthy and unfair this truly is. So yes, anyways, let's get into combo number 3. Alright, so I'm pretty sure a lot of people are probably tired of seeing combos with Kowloon. Personally, I am. It's kind of lame because it's kind of... It's not that it's an unsearchable 3 of, because it is searchable by Lulu, but, I mean, why not try to show more realistic hands where instead you actually draw like a bunch of monsters? And this Desires, I mean, am I a lucky Yu-Gi-Oh player? Of course not, but it doesn't matter because even this hand plays through Nibiru. This is stupid. Any hand in the virtual world deck plays through Nibiru. I can Desires into double Desires and it changes nothing to my life. As a matter of fact, in virtual world, it is probably the only deck in which Desires into double Desires won't even make me unhappy. It literally doesn't change anything because at the end of the day, since you're pitching your cards for like King Long and for Xuan Hu, all that really matters is hand size, and not really quality when you already have your starters, so it doesn't change anything. Anyways, that King Long is resolving to search the Lulu, and then we can actually send the trap, the Xuan Hu, to target the GG, and actually search the spell, so Kowloon, and then we have access to the Chuchi. Oh, pretty nice. And then again, Chao Feng on summon number 4. We're going to pretty much destroy our own Chao Feng. But before we destroy, since we only had technically one face-up banished virtual world card, we actually had to use the Chuchi from the graveyard first in order to increase the level of GG to 6. And now that we have 2, then we can actually destroy Chao Feng, search the Lao Lao, and then from there on out, not use the Lao Lao. We're actually going to go for Lulu from the graveyard by using the effect of Xuan Hu, which is really crazy. This was something that wasn't available before Blazing Vortex, so brand new virtual world combo. Maybe this might be the reason why virtual world, VFD might dodge this ban list, because they might still want people to have like an incentive to buy Blazing Vortex, but at the same time VFD is just such a problem for Yu-Gi-Oh that I think even if Xuan Hu is like new support, they're still gonna say like, no, sorry, we have to ban you. And by the way, this is really interesting. So if you're actually catching up to a lot of, you know, online games and stuff, you're often going to see people go VFD Call Light on their own turn. And the reason why that is the case is because Nibiru is a huge impact light monster, and you're trying to prevent them from actually using the Nibiru from the hand. So if you go light, you can actually keep extending from there and make a second VFD. But yeah, I mean, even if our opponent chains to that, it doesn't matter because, again, we're just gonna go Lao Lao, revive Cloud Castle, and I feel like every single time I make VFD, it's always because of that, and that's simply because it's the most effective way to do it. So anyways, let's get into the 4th combo. Alright, so these combos are actually quite different. This time my opponent is actually going to have Droll and Nibiru, and I'm also not gonna have Kowloon, so it's gonna be a bit harder. Let's actually try to see how I managed to do this. So, normal summon the GG and then summon the Lulu. Then, since we search the Kowloon, we're actually gonna get Drolled. And the reason why this matters is because, as you can clearly see, I don't have Lao Lao in my hand, and I can't really get access to it with the means of King Long, so I'm kind of laid behind, right? I don't really have that many good resources, so I actually have to activate King Long for once, which kind of sucks, but I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do, you know? And now we can actually pitch a monster and the trap. Not bad, not bad. And now we can make Vermilion Dragon Mech. So this is super crafty because we cannot search cards from our deck to our hand, but nothing prevents us from getting the cards from the deck to the grave, and then going from grave to banished, and then banished to hand. Hey, that works, huh? It's kind of like Electrum sent to the extra deck, but then recycle it back to your hand, so it's kind of like searching, but better. And now, yeah, this is a really crafty way to get back your Lao Lao. Really, really nice. And again, we're still under the threat of Nibiru, which is really scary. So as soon as I summon this Lao Lao, I might actually just get Nibiru right now. Of course, my opponent is going to make me waste more resources, and then I make VFD. I get a hit there. I actually call Earth here, which is funny because I did this just to show you an example of if your opponent Nibiru's you before you actually call the attribute, you have the freedom of selecting any other attribute you want instead of going for light, since you already showed the Nibiru. So at this point, it's basically impossible that our opponent has Ash, so there's no reason to go Fire. You could argue to call Dark for Skullmeister, so, you haven't never used the effect of a graveyard card like Chuche or a Xuanhu yet, so that actually could make sense, And there's also Ghost Bell for Earth, so definitely up to you if you want to call Dark or Earth. But, it depends on what people are playing. Anyways, it's just a heads-up play. It doesn't change anything technically to this situation. Anyways, this one who is reviving back the Nyan Nyan, and then Chooch is making it level 6, and then, of course, Cloud Castle bullshit, Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, just so I don't really lose to Ogre, and then Vermilion Dragon, pop my own King Long if I want to have a follow for next turn, because unfortunately, I wasn't really able to send a King Long with the other cards, and now I can make VFD, and the reason why I didn't want to destroy the Nibiru is because I want to be able to use this VFD on draw phase or standby, not lose to Kaiju's, Dark Ruler and stuff like that. And it's not like my opponent could Gamma me since he already has the Nibiru on the field. If that wasn't the case though, or if I know that he doesn't play Gamma, I could destroy the Nibiru, but this Nibiru is not destroying anything, because under VFD, monsters cannot attack. Well, monsters your opponent controls, your monsters are free to do whatever you want. And yeah, anyways, this final combo that I'm going to show you next is going to be through Lancia and Nibiru, so let's get to it. Alright, so I'm going to be totally honest with you. More often than not, if you just get Lancia'd, it's already an uphill battle, and I'm going to explain myself. Lancia is actually the equivalent of having 3 Skullmeisters in your hand against Virtual World, and the reason why that is the case is because it prevents your opponent from using Chooch in the graveyard, Xuanhu, and King Long. So Lancia, the fact that it actually completely shuts down all those 3 effects, and on top of that, you can't stack cards in your banished, so the Chuche that you have on the field won't be able to be an interruption for next turn, is ridiculously high impact. You can't adjust the levels, you can't Monster Reborn, you can't search, you can't pop. It's disastrous. You can't even do crafty plays to pop your Chao Fang or Vermilion Dragon Mech. The amount of options you can do are so ridiculously limited that Lancia alone is already terrifying. But Lancia paired with Nibiru? That's usually a turn skipper, but of course you know me. I don't really care. My opponent could have all the hand shops in the alphabet. I don't even care, man. Just a random hand of like 3 Virtual Worlds will actually be able to be pretty much enough to actually win. So now we're actually going to be searching for the Lao Lao, and there actually is going to be a point where I'm going to be mentioning something, because there is something unfortunate about this combo. Anyways, now we can actually send the Nyan Nyan and any other spell. I mean, you could actually send a second King Long, honestly. I think that makes more sense. And now, okay, so unfortunately, this Croco Dragon actually has to specifically draw either a Juju, sorry, not Juju, what the heck, you're not drawing an extra deck monster, GG Emergency Teleport, and I think Nyan Nyan would also work. I think Nyan Nyan would work, because the real goal here is actually just to make like Bamboozling with, another way to make a level 9 Synchro Monster. Well, just a level 9, well, yeah, but I mean, the level 9 monsters are all gonna be Synchro Monsters since you can't use the Graveyard of Chuchi. But yeah, if we draw GG, then we're pretty much chilling. The names are so confusing. Anyways, so again, now we're sending another Nyan Nyan. Oh my god, yeah, that's a bunch of Nyan Nyans. And we're, of course, summoning back the first Nyan Nyan, so that was already part of the initial combo. We didn't have to, sack the GG for that. And we're actually going to make, oh yeah, of course, we get Nibiru here, because our opponent is actually scared of Bamboozling, which makes total sense. And by the way, when I say opponent, I mean myself, because I am my opponent. Yeah, now whatever, you get Nibiru, it doesn't change anything to my life, because now I can go Lao Lao and pretty much revive back either the GG or the Nyan Nyan. So, it doesn't change anything. You don't have to specifically draw GG at all. You can just draw another Nyan Nyan. So there's pretty much 7 cards that you can draw out of like 30 that would be able to fit the bill. So the probability isn't that bad. It's a 3-card combo, relatively a little bit specific, but not that much. The Kowloon As a matter of fact, it doesn't even have to be Kowloon, it can just be King Long, because the thing is, this Chooch is completely useless. And we don't really need to send specific spells or traps, it doesn't matter at all. The only thing that we really need to send are monsters. So yeah, I mean, that's all I really kind of have to see here. At this point, it's really obvious that we're just gonna go Cloud Castle, Revive back, and of course in this version of the combo, since we actually went for the GG summon from the hand, since we're, I guess, really lucky, I mean, I stocked. We're also gonna get a recursion back from the graveyard, but I mean, hey, that's all you can really do, really, through Lancia and Nibiru, but these are like the biggest hand traps. And if you get de-shifted, deadass, you pass turn. There's nothing you can do. There's genuinely nothing. It's disgusting. If you're going second, I don't think it's like that worse. I mean, you can kind of, to a certain extent, I mean, you can't really special summon too much. No, D-Shifter is unfair, man. But hey, you gotta play like weird decks to play D-Shifter usually. Anyways, that's all I had to say in Showcase for this beautiful virtual world combos through Nibiru and other hand shops. So if you guys have any comments or feedback or suggestions for me to break some other decks, definitely let me know in the comment section below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, because it motivates me a lot to keep making videos like these. And that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.